Sometimes the loudest thing God ever says is silence. You've felt it, haven't you? That season when heaven feels quiet, prayers echo back empty, and you wonder if he's still listening. It's strange how his silence can feel like distance, when really it's the space where your roots grow deeper. Because maybe this stillness isn't rejection. Maybe it's realignment. Sometimes God removes the noise so you can finally hear his whisper. Sometimes the unanswered prayer is mercy in disguise. You don't see it while it's happening. You just feel the pause, the confusion, the waiting. But deep down, something sacred stirs. This isn't over. You've carried so much, haven't you? The fear, the waiting, the wondering if you've missed your moment. Listen closely. This isn't punishment, this is preparation. The quiet season is God building a foundation for miracles you can't yet imagine. We all know that struggle. We hold on to plans we drew without prayer, to people God asked us to release, to outcomes we thought we could control, because letting go feels like losing. But what if it's actually the first miracle? What if the things you cling to are the very things keeping you from the life he's trying to give you? Today I want to show you 5 life-changing miracles that begin the moment you put God first. 5 sacred shifts that happen not out there, but in here, in your spirit. By the end, you'll see that putting God first doesn't take anything from you. It gives you everything you were made for. Because when he's first, everything else finally falls into place. The first miracle begins quietly, the moment you stop forcing and start trusting. We spend years trying to make life fit our timelines. But God's clock doesn't tick like ours. He's not late. He's preparing alignment. Think of a farmer in early spring. He doesn't rush the harvest. He tills the soil, trusting unseen growth beneath the surface. That's what happens when you put God first. He aligns what's beneath before he blesses what's above. Doors you used to chase begin to open on their own. People who once drained you quietly drift away. Opportunities start fitting instead of fighting. It's not coincidence, it's coordination. He's rearranging your steps so your path matches your purpose. When God is first, you stop living from anxiety and start living from assurance. You stop asking, what if it doesn't work out? And you start declaring, if it's from him, it can't miss me. So don't fear divine delays. Alignment takes time, and that time is sacred. The second miracle comes when you finally open your hand. We pray for blessings, but hold on to control. We say, God, I trust you, while gripping the steering wheel. But faith doesn't work that way. Faith says, even if I can't see the road, I trust the driver. There's a story of a child standing on a boat, terrified by waves. The father says, don't look at the storm, look at me. And when the child fixes his eyes on his father's face, the fear begins to fade. Not because the storm stopped, but because love became louder than fear. That's the miracle of provision. When you put God first, you realize provision isn't just about resources, it's about relationship. He doesn't just send what you need, he becomes what you need. Remember the Israelites, manna falling fresh every morning. Enough for the day, no more, no less. That's how divine provision works. It trains your heart to trust the daily bread, not the storage. When God is first, you stop chasing supply and start following the source. And in that surrender, you'll see he never fails to feed a faithful soul. The third miracle isn't loud, it's still. Peace doesn't always look like calm seas. Sometimes it looks like sleeping through the storm because you know who's in your boat. When God is first, he teaches you that peace isn't the absence of trouble, it's the presence of trust. There's a garden metaphor. When the gardener prunes the vine, it looks like loss. Branches fall, leaves scatter. But pruning isn't punishment. It's protection. It's how growth happens. Peace blooms the same way. When God cuts away what can't stay, He's making room for fruit that lasts. And when you stop fighting His pruning, you start tasting His promise. In that place, anxiety loses its power. You stop needing every answer because His presence becomes enough. You begin to rest, not because life is perfect, but because His hand is steady. That's the peace that passes understanding. That's the miracle that silences storms from the inside out. This is where everything begins to shift. Because when you truly put God first, He doesn't just change your situation, He changes you. Transformation isn't about fixing what's broken, it's about revealing what was holy beneath the pain. There's a story of a potter working the clay. He doesn't throw away what collapses. He presses it, reshapes it, and starts again. Because the clay's value was never lost, it just needed new form. That's what God does when He's first. He takes the pieces you've hidden, the shame, the mistakes, the failures, and turns them into the very material He uses to build your next chapter. When you let Him lead, He'll rearrange your heart until forgiveness feels lighter than resentment, and compassion starts to flow where bitterness once lived. Transformation doesn't come through striving, it comes through surrender. You can't become who God made you to be while holding on to who the world told you to be. And yes, the process will stretch you. But stretching isn't punishment, it's preparation. He's making space in you for something greater to live there. One day you'll look back and realize the breaking didn't destroy you, it delivered you. The silence didn't stop you, it shaped you. And what once felt like loss was actually resurrection in disguise. That's the miracle of transformation. When you stop fighting the change and start trusting the hands that hold you. The final miracle happens when you let go of your own map. We all want clarity, the 5-year plan, the clear path, the knowing. But when God is first, He doesn't give you the map, He gives you the next step. Because faith is built one yes at a time. There's a story of a traveler who walked into the desert with only a lantern. Someone asked, "Aren't you afraid you'll get lost?" He said, "No, this light doesn't show me the whole road, but it shows me enough for the next few steps." That's what walking with God looks like. You won't always see what's ahead, but if you follow His light, you'll never walk in darkness. Purpose isn't about knowing every detail, it's about trusting every direction. When God is first, your steps stop being random, they become orchestrated. Even your delays become divine. Even your detours have destiny written all over them. You'll start to see His fingerprints in every twist, His mercy in every mess, and His guidance in every goodbye. That's when you understand purpose isn't found in chasing, it's found in choosing. Choosing Him again and again, even when it doesn't make sense. And when you do, your whole life becomes a living testimony that says, I may not have known where I was going, but I always knew who I was following. And when you finally put God first, well, when you stop fighting for control, stop carrying the weight of what's gone, stop defining yourself by what broke you, that's when grace floods in. That's when peace stops being a promise and becomes your home. You'll realize it was never about loss. It was always about making room. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every quiet night you thought He'd forgotten you, was God clearing space for something sacred. You'll feel it deep in your chest, that quiet knowing. You were never forsaken. You were being formed. And maybe this is the miracle behind them all. When you put God first, He doesn't just rearrange your life, He rebuilds it on holy ground. Every tear you cried watered a future you couldn't yet see. Every silence was a seed, not a sentence. And every delay was divine choreography, preparing you for what's next. So breathe. You made it here not by luck, but by love. And love never wastes a season. You can't pour from a full cup, because when your heart is full of fear, pride, or striving, there's no room for grace to dwell. But now your cup is empty. And that's exactly where God begins. He'll pour peace where anxiety lived. He'll pour purpose where confusion sat. He'll pour love where you once settled for survival. You've walked through the valley, but you didn't stay there. You've wrestled with silence, but silence didn't win. This was never punishment. It was preparation. It was proof that even in your stillness, He was still working. So rest now. You are safe. You are seen. And what's meant for you is already finding its way home. Because when you put God first, you'll never be the same again.